Yeah, g'day team. Hope you're well. I'm sitting here with Mike Wootton in his lovely abode that he's got for a couple of months at the moment. A few months.
Living the life of Larry.
And we've actually just been catching up because it seems like we've crossed paths a million times, but we haven't actually known that. But obviously we're here now. Original one sounds like it was burning with two turbos, mate.
Yeah, it does. I was working with the players, and you were serving the players off the
That's
field.
right.
So.
Yeah. They'd come in a bit hungover after being at the pub.
Yeah.
So now we've had a few chats, and I guess one of the things that I was wanting to do is have a bit of a chinwag with Mike around some of the partnerships he's been involved in, some of the experience he's got. He got New Zealand sponsorship professional in 2017, so he's been doing some great work, and also what are the big activations he's like. So tell us a bit about your experience, where you've been in the sponsorship partnership world. You're doing a few things differently now, but where have you been? What have you done?
Well, it started for me in Palmerston North when I went to university. I studied sport business management, and then part of the degree is you actually have to go out and you have to work with sports organisations to get your degree.
Awesome.
And so I ended up working with the Mana with two turbos for a couple of years, where I worked a lot on their commercial strategy around acquiring sponsorship, putting a sponsorship strategy for them, would work on some of their marketing, and did a ton of stuff around activating at their home games and sort of bringing value to people outside of the actual rugby itself, and providing more of a at event experience, because they weren't a very successful team, so you had to work out how to engage fans and make them fans of the team without actually winning. So that was always a challenge.
So was that part of the buckets?
So the buckets were there. We put in a bit of a program around how to really, I guess, amplify the bucket hits. It wasn't started by the rugby union, but here's a really great piece of content that gets picked up every single
100%.
time by the news. It gets coverage every single time they're talking about the rugby. So how do we facilitate and grow that and kind of promote it, given it gets such good cut through? And so we'd approach the kind of the creator of the bucket heads and the president of that, and we'd be like, okay, listen, we'll pay for you to go to the games around the North Island. We'll get you a minivan, you take a crew of supporters, all your signage, all your buckets. We'll chuck you some contra beers and stuff.
Awesome.
I think Tui was the sponsor at the time.
Local brewery as well.
Yeah, and so they loved it, and they just create all the content and stuff, and then we'd just hear that. But you'd go to a Taranaki game and all you'd see is bucket heads because we're paying for them to be there. So that stuff got really good cut.
Looks like KFC are trying to emulate that at the moment, aren't they?
Well, they are the old bucket heads.
And so from Manawatu Rugby, then where did you head?
So Manawatu Rugby, I went straight from there over and worked at Winter Olympics in Vancouver.
Nice.
So I was part of the organising committee for Winter Olympics. That was really cool, just to do some big budget stuff on an international stage in sports. And then I came back. I ended up working with Sport Wellington.
Oh, yeah.
So I went to not-for-profit side, where I was working on around the bays down there. So I was
Windy Wellington.
Working around the bays and the Wellington Sports Person of the Year Awards. They created a role for me there around my experience in sponsorship. So they obviously saw I had a knack for it, and acquiring sponsorship, servicing sponsors, and coming up with activation leverage ideas. And then from there, I actually went corporate to round out the experience. I got shoulder tapped for Rugby World Cup. So I worked with Rugby World Cup down there, and that was another awesome experience. And then went to AMP Insurance, where I was running the AMP scholarship program in New Zealand.
That's still going?
So this year is the very first year since it started that they've called it a pause, or they've put it on pause. So I don't really know what's going on.
It's been quite a good initiative, though, in the last few years.
Oh, it's been awesome. I've had some phenomenal people come through it, like Catherine Wilson. She started out with an AMP scholarship.
Okay.
There's been plenty of famous sports people that have started out with AMP scholarships, got them to the Olympics, done a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah.
So it's a phenomenal program. I don't think it's, I don't know if they've necessarily got enough resource in their marketing team to do enough with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, awesome property.
Yeah, 100%. And then over to ASB.
Yeah, well, I did a little bit of consulting in between there. So I did some stuff with Auckland Council and ICC Cricket World Cup. And then went to ASB where I was working on a bunch of sponsorships there, like ASB Classic, ASB Auckland Marathon, Auckland Lantern Festival, etc.
Cool.
That's where I picked up a bunch of awards, and then
nice.
Yeah, now I'm out on my own, doing my own thing.
Doing my own thing.
Yeah, so I still do a bit of sponsorship consulting here and there.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, cool. And we were talking a little bit before, but what's your kind of best activation you've seen? Best kind of sponsorship engagement for fans, you know.
So I am a massive fan of like bringing technology and stuff into sponsorships, and I've got plenty of examples in that space, which I think are awesome. But for me, the one standout sponsorship activation that I always remember, because it's the one where I was like, everything clicked for me, where I was like, these guys get it, it's awesome, it's done everything it's supposed to do, was actually Jim Beam activating at Jim Beam Homegrown.
Oh, yeah.
And so what they did is they did a partnership with Grab a Seat and with the event. Yeah. And so what happened is you could buy a limited edition ticket where you go on a themed plane ride down from Auckland with Grab a Seat. Yeah. On the plane, they have some of the acts, so some of the bands and stuff that are playing there. And
as a surprise?
So it's all part of the experience. So you don't know which bands are going to be on.
Oh, yeah.
But then they announce them all. You're sitting with the bands on the plane. They're getting up. They're doing performances. They're running catwalks and stuff down the middle of the aisle. Like it's a party plane type thing, which is... I'm like, this is so cool. And it's like themed, so everyone's dressed up.
And, nice.
And then when you're down there, you've got tickets into the VIP, the Jim Beam VIP lounge. And it's this kind of hidden away spot, which you don't really know that it's like anything, apart from there's two bouncers standing there in full black with clipboards, and that's it. There's no signage or anything like that. And then you walk in there and you go, I think I'm supposed to be here. Like, what's your name? And then you give your name, and then you walk in. And in the middle of the wharf in Wellington, you walk into this bar, and it's a real, like it's an old school South American, like Southern States type speakeasy. Yeah. And you're completely transformed. They've got like, Hessium sack stuff to sit on, and like smoked brisket and food and everything like this. You walk in and everything's been done with Jim Beam and all their different flavours. And I don't even like Jim Beam. And I've always thought of it, sorry Jim Beam, but I've always thought of it as a bit of a tackier sort of bourbon. And I went in there and they're like, you get like a number of tokens and stuff like that you can use, that you can buy cocktails and food and stuff with in there. And like, the way like that, everyone was themed, everyone was dressed up, everyone was talking the right way. They had this old piano in there, grand piano, and people playing on that and singing all this like blues music and stuff. And like the cocktails were awesome. They were so good. And my level of appreciation from Jim Beam just went through the roof. I was like, and not only that, I'm like I know about all these other different styles of Jim Beam. They do like Jim Beam honey and a couple other things. And I'm like, I could actually do this. And I'm like, I went in there as someone who goes, I don't really like Jim Beam. I think it's a bit of a tacky
but
brand.
I'll go down to the concert and have a bit of fun and see what happens.
And I'm like, and then when I go into this place, I'm like, Jim Beam is awesome. Like, I would buy some of these Jim Beams now to make some of these cocktails.
100%.
And I'm like, this is like, it was just, it blew my mind. So it's
it's a true example of fan engagement, right? Because you've now told me, or tell a few people on the video, you've probably told a million other people before this.
Oh, yeah. And it's going to live on with me for a long time.
100%. And that's...
Because I remember how I felt. It was just incredible.
Yeah, 100%. And that's exactly what sponsorship's all about. It's creating that experience. It's creating that fan engagement that improves their day, their week, their month, their year, their lifetime for someone like you that's experienced that.
Well, because if you think about it, my normal event experience, had Jim Beam not done that, would have been, I would have flown to Wellington on my own. Yeah. I would have been in a stiff plane where I didn't talk to anyone. Yeah. And just
trying to sleep, but couldn't because you're uncomfortable.
Yeah. Got down there. I would have met up with my mates. I would have made my own way down there to the event. I would have lined up with everyone else. Yeah. And I would have had the exact same event experience as everyone else, except I went down there and I was like, I was in another realm. Like
100%.
I was doing something else.
100%. So and that's what I'm always trying to talk about, you're obviously, the people you're talking about, is how do we get to that in engagement? How do we get to that fan engagement? Because actually, there's no point doing sponsorship if you can't create that.
No, there's not. So I look at, the hard thing is that I think there's a mindset out there, that we need to bust open, which is people think that, hey, if I give money to sponsor an event or a team or whatever it is, that once I've paid my money, my sponsorship's done.
Oh, yeah.
And so the way I explain it to people is that sponsorship's kind of like a gym membership, where like you buy your gym.
What sort of gym person are we talking about here?
But so I'll explain it. So you buy your gym membership, right? And if you buy your gym membership and you don't go to the gym, you don't get abs, and you don't look good, and you don't lose the weight, right? Yeah. So it buys you access. That's what a gym membership does. Sponsorship buys you access, and leveraging is working out. So if you pay to leverage and you do cool things like with that sponsorship, you'll get the abs. You'll look good.
Yeah, that's right.
You'll lose weight.
100%.
You'll attract the babes. That's what you want.
Yeah, 100%, exactly. And that's. A lot of people just don't think about that. They think, oh, yeah, I'll go and sponsor something, or I know someone at this organisation who will give us some money and whatever. It's actually, what do you create off the back of that to then tell that story?
Yeah. Well, there's kind of, like, I think that I don't think we'll ever get rid of, hey, this person will give me money.
100%.
And, sort of chairman's choice style sponsorships, because at the end of the day, you do have to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And so you've got to balance that up to go, okay, well, I'll take a short-term one here. But your ultimate goal should be, like, how do we work with people to grow? How do we work with people to enhance an experience?
Yeah.
How do we work with people to grow our offering, whatever it is, to our target audience and improve it for them, so that then we're attracting more people, more growth,
100%.
and then we can, it's like a flow-on effect. So once we're attracting more growth, then we can attract more money. Once we've got more money, we can attract more growth, etc., etc., etc.
And that's what's helps them stand the test of time. You brand slap something, you throw money at something, you don't do anything about it. Then in 2 years' time, you're kind of both sitting there going, "Well, that didn't work."
Yeah,
but if you actually do something about it over the next 2 years, then that relationship could stand for 10 years. Look at the Vodafone Warriors and what they've kind of created with Vodafone over a long-standing amount of time, because they kind of constantly are talking to each other about how do we engage and how do we grow this.
Well, if you're constantly working on it year on year, your equity with that, with the organisation that you're sponsoring, grows in value.
Yeah.
And it starts cementing itself in people's minds.
100%.
So you keep growing year on year with that partnership. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Well, this was Mike Wootton. He's been doing sponsorship for a long time. He's not doing so much anymore, but he's still involved. And he's got a couple of exciting things coming out. He's fairly passionate about the industry. But yeah, so get in touch if you want any expertise. Mike's obviously always available for a phone call as well, or a coffee or a beer. And we look forward to catching up soon. Cheers, team.